Hi everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. I have come up real quick just to share some insider knowledge and also some tools for community and society so that we can get to the bottom of the society issue that we're having, not only in Australia, it's happening in, God, so many multicultural countries mostly, and it is something that is such a huge error and issue in our society that needs to be reformed and fixed. So please like and share this post so that we can get it around and try and heal and eradicate this issue as soon as possible. What has happened in Australia, especially over the last years, especially with protesting, look, we have the freedom to protest. You have the freedom of speech. You are able to have your say. And that is a part of society that the government allows. And it is an amazing part of society, not only to ensure that people's voices are heard and that can make change, but also to really be able to manage society's issues and problems and social economic, it's for social economic growth. There's so many benefits from freedom to protest. What we are seeing, the scenes that we are seeing on the streets are horrendous. The treatment, the human treatment, the lack of listening and trusting our authorities, whether it be government giving direction, and prerequisites to the day, whether or not it be them to tell you to be in a certain zone or area, or whether or not you are allowed to protest or not to protest. Understand that not only is it the law in Australia to allow you to protest, but it also is a law for our leaders to be responsible and have duty of care to ensure that we are safe, and also to manage a country or a state in a way that's going to serve us all. And when a leader tells you what the requirement is, you need to listen to that. And when I'm going to use another example. I'm going to bring in what happened in Minnesota, especially with the murder of a protester over there. And I really want people to really zone into the truth of this story, because it makes a whole bunch of difference between light and day, life and death, and also what is right and what is wrong, and also the order of where freedom lies for society and civilization in a huge measurement. First of all, what I'm going to put out there, and it might be a bit raw, but it is something that you guys need to understand and actually watch and understand rules of engagement, also the law. One thing that is not trustworthy is some of the fake news and information that is supposed to be trusted sourced information or well backgrounded and knowledge information, and it's not. And it's something that you need to really grasp your head around, to double check and understand when you think that something might be off. But one thing that I heard after what happened in Minnesota with the first woman that passed and perished there, what actually was said on the news was that it was not illegal not to comply with police officers. That is not the truth. It is completely illegal to not comply with a police officer. You need to understand that a police officer has their duty, policy, and legalities behind what they do. Not only are they appointed to protect and serve the community, including us, the main thing that happened in Minnesota was that she was protesting. She was illegally parked across the road. She was stopped and asked to cooperate with their requirements, which most likely would have been ID and a chat to move the situation forward. Not only did she not want to comply, but she also attempted to run another police officer down, which he reacted and he shot her dead. If he did not do that, the chances of his legs breaking and him becoming permanently disabled were 100%. His chance of death was also in the high tens when it comes to the probability of his life or hers. That is why he shot that woman, and that is why she died. And it is so important for people not to be manipulated and also understand the truth. And the truth of the matter, and at the end of the day, is that it is life-saving when a police officer not only is putting their life on the line every single day to protect and serve our community, but also the policies in place in society are also designed to protect and serve the community, which could mean life or death. So when a police officer or a managerial role person gives direction, it's not for no reason. It's to protect and serve us all. And with that, the news that has been happening here in Australia with the protests, where people are getting hurt, things are getting misconstrued. It is a complete and utter soup mix on the street, especially when it comes down to protests. And the orders that were given in Sydney, and also the orders that get given by police, continuously get challenged or ignored. And for that reason, we have a high crime rate. We have less order in the street, less resolve when it comes to what people are protesting about, slower movement, more danger, and that kind of thing needs to end. That needs to stop. We've had enough. We've had enough watching it on the news. We've had enough living with it for the last how many years, and we are a multicultural nation. The connection and the road to peace for all of us remains and stays in those legitimate actions and natures and behaviours. Respecting each other, respecting authority, respecting direction, respecting the law. We're talking about minor stuff. We're talking about things like cooperating with police when they ask you for your name and your ID, telling them what's going on so that they have an idea of how to manage the situation. So you can move on with your day. Like, it's not that tough, and it's not that hard. And it's as simple as respecting the direction. That direction is there to support, serve, and also give us the freedoms that we are fighting for every single day, that we're complaining about every single day. It's in those simple gestures and those simple actions and those simple conscious decisions. It really is. It is the difference between life or death, which sits in courtesy and behaviour, and just general well-being has been compromised for millions of people around, not only in our country but around the world, because this is a generic behaviour that keeps on continuing and swirling like a virus. But it also doesn't do much well for our planet, doesn't do much well for our health, doesn't do much well for our daily longevity and our productivity. So be kind to each other, respect direction, abide by the suggestions and the direction and the requirements of what is expected. So, for resolve, remember that we're a multicultural nation. We are a whole bunch of different religions. We have different places of worship. And your religious beliefs are personal and private, and to share amongst people that are alike. And one thing about Australia is that people have the freedom to follow their own faith, and as long as it's law-abiding and not hurting anybody, all is safe and well, and it's private. When it comes to race, so many mixed races, so many different nationalities, but value systems matter. Morals and ethics matter, and ensure that you don't get caught up in ideologies or an ideology is a pipe dream. It's what people think. It's not what things actually are. Opt to connect to what things are. what things are matter way more in life than any ideology ever could even scrape the surface on. And without knowing the legitimate truth of anything, just know you don't really know the legitimate truth of anything. Connect to your own smarts, education, the people that have done this work before us, so much liberation, so much freedom to be enjoyed. And the only way to do that is to work together, to respect each other, reach a hand out to somebody in need legitimately, respect people's privacy and their right to freedom for themselves. Everybody, every single person on the planet deserves that. Every single person on the planet has a right to that. And through these wars and what has happened in our country as well is where our energy needs to go, not in protest, in support for resolve. That's what our government work on tirelessly every single day. That is what it's all about. And supporting that pathway and supporting those movements starts with respecting governed guidance and legitimate direction that is designed to protect us, serve us, and to serve the situation. We are an elite country, civilized country, and civilization matters. Third world infrastructures are not part of what Australia really is. And sometimes we need to teach others, what that really is. Some people just don't know. And the blessings of this country need to be felt by all people here. So all the best. Respect each other. And, we're all in this together.